And let us know when we're ready to go.
It's recorded.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Let's call this meeting to order of Wednesday, February 18th, Board of Commissioners regular meeting. First, we need to establish a quorum, and Commissioner Chuck
Commissioner Malter-Chuck present.
and myself constitute a quorum. With us here, Public Information Officer Kenneth Lip and Kristen Yule, County Counsel. We have no recognitions or proclamations. That brings us to the adoption of the consent calendar. These are items that have come before us before or maybe routine. Commissioner Chuck, do you have anything you want to highlight or focus
I have
on?
nothing I wish to highlight.
Okay, I do not have any either, so a motion.
I move we
perhaps?
accept the consent calendar as presented.
Okay. I second that motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we stand by here. My mouse working. No public hearings, and that moves us to decision and action, the Community and Economic Development Grant funding recommendations. And we saw this last week in decision and action. Thanks for pulling it over to the next meeting. And how would you like to proceed?
First, I'd like to thank Paul for showing up today. I know he was not able to be here in person, and that changed. I just thank him and tell him that I appreciate the time that he and the staff took and the scoring panel took looking at and scoring over 20 applications. I value their expertise and experience. The grant program was set up to spur economic development in our county. I like that this year's applications, most of them are addressing our housing needs in our county. I reviewed the applications and got the updates at the EDALC meetings, and I support you and your panel's recommendations, and I would move that we approve them as presented.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Chuck. Yeah, just before we proceed, I would like to thank you as well for all the work the Alliance is doing to help us. You've done this for a number of years, and we couldn't do it without you, really. So thanks for your time. Just for the record, I wanted to point out that I requested that the packet include all of those past applications so we could all get a look at those things, the criteria. But I have confidence in Mr. Skydema. I know it's a good process. And so I would second the motion that we approve the Community and Economic Development Funding Grant recommendations. We have an order here. Ken, can you pull that up real fast? Just the order so everybody can see it. It's a resolution, I think, if I recall correctly.
Maybe in the last meeting?
Mm,
See one here.
You
Okay,
can just put an order number on the document.
put it on the document itself. Okay. Okay, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Next, we have an order legalizing a portion of South Drift Creek Road, County Roads number 109, presented by County Counsel Kristen Yule.
Thank you, Commissioners. So on October 15th, the board did enter an order initiating the legalization proceedings for a portion of South Drift Creek Road, and this is County Road 109. The public hearing happened on January 7th. We did have 2 individuals testify, but there was nothing filed under ORS 368-211 for a claim for compensation. Mr. Blair, who's the county engineer, submitted a written report in accordance with the statute. This was dated November 21st, 2025, and this is included in the exhibits. So the next step is all the requirements have been met to proceed with the legalization. So I'm recommending approving this order. And if you have any questions, I can answer those.
Commissioner Chuck, anything?
I have no questions.
Yeah, I don't either. And I think we've followed the process and it's been good. So I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the order legalizing a portion of South Drift Creek Road on County Road number 109.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And we will get that order signed. Okay, where are we next here? Okay. That's the end of our labeled agenda items. Commissioner Chuck, I submitted a number of requests to be discussed today. I'd like to highlight some of those and proceed with, at least some, bring into the fray some of the agenda requests that I've submitted and why they're not here and what's your take on that?
Just for the record, none of these were submitted on the agenda and were approved. There is a process that we have set up in order to approve things on the agenda. Neither you nor I have the authority to direct staff to put things on the agenda. Some of these items that you've asked for could have been taken care of and through meetings with other departments. And let's go forward with a couple of them, but we will address them as we go.
Okay.
And some that I will not entertain
Okay.
discussion.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. There is no board authorized process for determining which items on the agenda. And what I mean by that is, a policy that the board has approved. So that to me, when I have an item such as agenda process, that's what I'm looking for us to create in the future is, a list of really a process that has multi-dimensions, right? It's got an internal one in which elected officials, staff submit items before the board. And then it's got an external piece too, right? We've had people ask us over the years, well, how do I get an item on the agenda, say as a community group? So for me, moving forward by having a board authorized process would really serve us so that we all understand what the rules are of engagement, both internally and externally. What I am looking for is really for us to place this on the agenda in the future. I don't think we'll solve everything about that process here today, but I'm looking for your support to create one and that we add it to future discussion.
So my response to that, Commissioner Miller, basically is that in the past I have asked for items to be placed on the agenda, whether it was a request from myself or members of the community. Some have been placed on and some have not. And the reasons given to me were that these meetings that we are having today are business meetings to conduct the business of the county, approving leases, grant programs, approving financials as we have on the consent calendar. And I'm fine with the way things are being done now. Council reviews them and also other staff. If we wish to have informational meetings, that can be brought up some other time. But as far as these meetings, I'm fine with the process going forward that we have right now.
Okay. So just to make sure I'm clear, at this time, you're not interested in having it as a discussion item on a meeting agenda?
I'm saying that I'm fine with the way the agendas have been prepared.
Okay. Just a snapshot, looking back in history, we had a public staff meeting. It was on Mondays before our Wednesday meeting. And that served us to discuss those items. It's been a while since we've had those meetings. It would certainly be an intermediary step that we could bring back. Now, not everything we've done in the past needs to be brought back or repeated, but it's certainly worth taking a look at to see how it served us. Okay, well, let's see here. Thank you, Commissioner Chuck. Staff, just to be clear, Am I right that we don't have a board adopted policy for creating the agenda?
So we have a policy that's been in place for probably 20 years.
Okay.
So again, one commissioner, Mr. Chuck is correct, one commissioner has no authority under the law to direct staff or direct a process.
Okay. Okay. I guess for me, I think it's something that we should discuss in the future. And I would move that we place the agenda process on a future agenda discussion. It could be a work session. It could be a special meeting. Do you second that motion?
I do not.
Okay. Okay, the next thing, and I've just only got a couple more here, Commissioner Chuck, thank you. Board vacancy, are we going to dive into this at all today, or where you stand on that?
I'm fine with the way the process you and I had agreed on. You and I did not have any agreements on candidates going forward.
Okay. So what's next for you?
I'm in the county needs to make sure that we are abiding by the statute and also seeing what other measures going forward there are.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. Just so everybody's kind of clear on what I've done, I did reach out to the governor's office on Friday, asked the Office of Legal Counsel for the governor's office to really provide us, any information that we needed to know if we were not approaching this in a manner that we should have not heard back from the governor's office yet. Think that would be very helpful. So I just want you to understand that I am ready to proceed and come up with a collaborative solution to keep this process moving forward. So I am at the ready to do that. And I do recommend that we at least have a special meeting by the end of the week, anytime really, to pick somebody and start interviews and keep it going. Okay. All right. And then just the last item that I requested that we don't see here is
Clarification, Commissioner Chuck, are you approving a special meeting to be scheduled?
No, I'm not.
we've seen District Attorney Wallace make agenda requests. I have made requests as well to discuss DA staffing, and just want to make sure everybody understands that, the board is the authority, right? We are ultimately responsible here, Commissioners Chuck and myself, for everything, under the umbrella of the county. And what I am at least looking for at a minimum is just a professional, diplomatic discussion with finance, HR, legal, Commissioner Chuck, myself, DA Wallace, to just really talk about staffing and what District Attorney Wallace is contending with. At a minimum, I'm just looking for that environment for us all to sit down together, compare notes, and make sure we're all on the same page. So I would move that we add a DA staffing at the soonest possible convenience to discuss what Jenna Wallace is going through.
So I would just also like to highlight that there are numerous departments in the county that are also facing staff shortages, and I don't wish to set a precedent and also go over HR and finance's ability to look at the budget, address these situations. HHS, I get their updates every week. They are down on staffing. I've talked with the sheriff is down on staffing. We have multiple openings at planning. I've gotten quite a few calls the last couple of weeks about backups at planning. They lost one of their main people. So as far as addressing each department's staffing shortages, I don't think that's under our purview. I think we need to leave that up to staff at HR and finance. I got my budget calendar a couple weeks ago from finance. All of those vacancies and the budget impacts on the freeze will be addressed partway through next month. And I think that we should wait until that happens because we need to make sure that we address all of the staffing shortages and also some potential budget shortfalls. It would be premature to make decisions on those things right now without having the budget forecast also. I've met with Lennon a few times, and one of the things that I want to make sure before we start doing anything as far as increasing the general fund budget is to make sure that when these staffing freezes were put in, they are going to solve the problem that they were supposed to solve. And if they haven't, we need to make sure that we address that matter and make sure that the departments know that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you are having conversations and, looking at, the whole array of potentialities. And again, for me, when I'm interested in hearing from District Attorney Wallace, it's the same for every department head, right? What is happening? What are the financial impacts? I believe it is our responsibility, okay, to address these issues. And nothing prohibits us from just having a conversation, especially with you, the community, so that you can see too, right? When I think about transparency, it's really so, again, we're all on the same page. We all have the same facts and data that we're working with, and that includes our department heads, right? And my sense is, at a minimum, what I see is just not a lot of open collaboration. And I think that is one of the things that just having Wallace or any department head come forward and talk about is, are we all on the same page? Okay, well, to Commissioner Chuck's point.
So I'd just like to answer that. So it is my view that HR is the purview of HR. And that is the day-to-day operations of the county, of which we should be aware of, but we should not be getting involved in. We have quite a few things that we should be doing, and we are doing that are more important to our duties as commissioners.
Yes.
And as far as collaboration, in my talks with many of the department heads and other electeds, there is collaboration going on and regarding their vacancies. And I would not say collaboration is a problem. I'd say it's the frustration that the current budget situation we're in. And we need to be focused on that for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we do. I think, ongoing, anytime, it's absolutely important. Folks, when you look at the board and you think about the board's authority, and when you look at ORS, right, that looks at that broad authority of county commissions, how the commission then takes that authority and pushes it out potentially to a county administrator, to an HR director. The board delegates its authority, okay? That doesn't mean we lose responsibility, right? So hearing what you're saying is I think it's important to understand what is happening underneath the authority of the board. And that is primarily the way I see how the authority flows out and down. You could argue that the boards with that top-down authority, it doesn't, again, preclude us from bottom up, right? Our team, these are the subject matter experts. I don't have that kind of training and expertise that somebody like a finance director has. But what I'm certainly looking for is to make sure he's pulling and upstreaming back up his knowledge to us, and having conversations again is, I think, something that makes sure we're all on the same page. So appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to dive in or advocate for executive session at this time. And other items I've submitted. To Commissioner Chuck's point, we have been distributed the budget calendar which is great. Seems fairly well mapped out with the types of meetings that we're going to be having. And it looks like on the 27th, we can expect to have an online budget book narrative. And that'll give everybody a chance to look into our financial activity as well, which I think is important to really encourage people to come along for the ride. Ask questions, take a look, advocate, because as and if we are moving forward to be having a challenging year financially, we're going to have to make potentially hard decisions, right? So again, what your priorities are through us is important for us to know. All right, so moving on. Thank you for your patience, everyone. So that jumps us, that was kind of discussion, I guess. It doesn't look like we have any reports from staff or partners, but Commissioner Chuck, it looks like you have a report today.
No, so it was my activities last week. So on the 6th, I sat in virtually on some Association of Oregon County subcommittees, Health and Human Services. Basically what this committee does is it looks over at this time of year over what the legislation is and what's going through and how that potential legislation will affect communities. I just highlighted a couple. HB 4070, so work convenes that asks for a work group to look at improvements and updates to coordinated care organizations and community mental health programs. The intent is to reduce administrative burden and provide better services. HR 1, and this was the bill passed in the U.S. Congress. The hurdle there is potential reductions in federal funds. All of our HHS departments here in the county we will be striving to provide basic services and mental health care with potential upcoming reductions in Medicaid and other funding sources for community-based health providers. That most of that is from the state. Governing Revenue and Economic Development Board, HB 4148. I think I've talked about that before. Reapportions transit lodging tax percentages from 70% in favor of the state to 30% in favor of the entities that collect those taxes. The intent is to switch that to 60% to the entities and 40% in favor of the entities. It also broadens the available uses for funds. We can use more for infrastructure, which we couldn't do before. Depot Bay is looking to replace or work on its drinking water and wastewater treatment plant. This would free up those funds for them to do those improvements. It gets more local control over funds, and this does not mean that 60% has to be used in the entities or for the entities. They can choose to do more advertising with the state or by themselves for that. It just gives more control over that. There's a recreational liability bill in the Senate. I've been contacted by charter operators and other businesses that have recreational businesses outside. This basically brings us up to the same levels of liability as all the Western states. They're much in favor of it, especially the charters and the whale watching. Natural resources, there's a 4134, it's 1.25% for wildlife. This is an increase on the transit lodging tax. This would pay for poaching enforcement, invasive species monitoring, statewide action plans, wolf depredation compensation, and wildlife connectivity and crossing and stewardship programs, and the Oregon Recreation Fund and the Conservation Corps. This one is an extra transit lodging tax. It's getting a good support, but I'm not sure if that's going to be one of those things that the legislature at this time is going to wish to impose a new tax on the people. On the 9th, we had public safety and veterans. There was a bill that's going through that with improvements to emergency response preparedness and management. Another one on EMT funding and a program reorganization and modification. Transportation and community development. There's something on city annexation of non-contiguous lands, and that doesn't sound like it impacts the county, but the county impact would require us to provide maintenance level and care to those roads within city limits. Omnibus housing bill changes existing programs to facilitate more opportunities to build housing, streamline the application process and times. That one's pretty well supported. I think we all know the housing needs and deficiencies of Lincoln County. Rural residential development rezone allows counties with lower populations per square mile to rezone for residential use in less than 40 acres. An ADU size increase if outside the urban growth boundary. This is only for counties with less than 30 people per square mile. This does not apply to Lincoln County. And on House Bill 4144 creates a collection system for lithium batteries for recycling purposes and fire prevention. Our local providers, solid waste providers, are very much in favor of this. When a lithium battery gets crushed, it can catch fire. They can lose their hauling vessel, and right now they're between $750,000 and $800,000 a piece. And if they were to lose one, that cost would get passed on to our local people who use the service. I also testified in favor of H148 in the House Committee on Revenue. And on the 10th, the 30 plus commissioners from 23 different counties. We met in person with the Senate President and Speaker of the House over breakfast. We got updates on the session so far, possible outcomes, concerns, and wishes. They were hoping to pass legislation and hoping that they get to pass some good things. There's ongoing concern with ODOT making up their $300 million shortfall, and the state also looking for making up some money on their budget. That's all going to be going through Ways and Means, and we will see what happens when the session ends. One of the problems with the ODOT shortfall is they're looking at taking money from the Connect Oregon grants. That is a grant that addresses transportation issues in cities, counties, ports, and other things such as pedestrians and bicycles. And then also, we also had the 120th anniversary of the Senate continuing resolution celebrating 120 years of AOC. And then later in the day, I met with Senator Anderson and Representative Gomberg, accompanied by a couple of county commissioners from Benton County regarding 4148 and other legislation that affects counties. There were some other lobbying groups that I met that were also working on some legislation that would benefit our county, and 4148 and some other ones. And then myself and one of the Harney County commissioners met with Representative Owens to discuss legislation beneficial to rural and frontier counties. One thing I've learned by going to AOC is that there are quite a few counties that have a lot in common, and those are the rural and frontier counties. We make up 28 to 29 of the counties of the 36 in the state, and it's better that we work together than not against each other. We have a lot more in common than we do have differences. So thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Commissioner Chuck. And I want to put a plug in for, Commissioner Chuck being at the Capitol, and the county, like many counties, pays a pretty hefty contract in dollars to the Association of Counties to really help tie us together, and that we are advocating for ourselves with our fellow counties as we look at these legislative impacts and how they might affect us. So when Commissioner Chuck participates in, a cadre of committees that are looking at these bills with fellow counties to say, wow, how is this going to impact us? And then through those committees, that advocacy is pushed back up to the legislature. So, the time he's spending on our behalf to take a look at what kind of impact we might be experiencing, I think is really important. I appreciate that you're doing that work, Commissioner Chuck. And there's a lot of great conversations happening at the committee level through the Association of Counties. And I'm glad Commissioner Chuck is there for us. He's taking a look at these things. I know that was a lot of information. I appreciate it. You have been doing quite a bit. And I think that serves us. Okay. So appreciate your time on that. Yeah.
Thank you. And looks like we're advertising for North Face, both of us.
Yes, right. We are, huh? Okay, so that was commissioner reports, and that moves us into public comments. PIO Lip, you want to go with written?
The written is attached.
Okay.
Chair, the written comment is attached to the agenda. It got on there a little bit late. There's a comment about the potential naming of the Lincoln County Commons, and then there's a comment about the commissioner appointment process.
Okay. So, well, let's take who's in the room here. We have Christine Hutchins. Please come forward, and remember, you have 3 minutes to address the board. Make sure that it is red, and then maybe do a check. See if you can hear yourself.
Nope.
Is it red?
It's green.
Needs.
The button on the base.
Oh yeah. Oh, but look on the base, and when it turns
It's
red, yeah,
Okay.
there you
I
go.
thought you meant here. Okay, well, good morning, commissioners. I'd like to remind everyone that's sitting on the dais that you are paid by us, the taxpayers. The first duty of government is to protect its people. Sadly, that does not seem to be happening here in Lincoln County. Just in case you are not aware, we had a man with a hatchet on the beach in Newport yesterday. We had an armed man that was intoxicated near one of our schools. And I'm just picking Newport because both commissioners live in Newport. We can go into other cities too if you'd like. A sexual assault on the 100 block of 71st Street in Newport happened yesterday. A sexual offender was questioned by office in downtown Newport, possibly not on the registry like he should have been. And we had a bar and a grill broken into on Highway 101 in Newport. And this is all in 2 days. So you sit here and will not discuss the DA staffing. We are attracting the wrong people here because the word is out that our DA's department is understaffed and therefore is unable to prosecute all crime. So my question is, how long are we going to fiddle while Rome burns with these little childish games that are going on? Our DA's office has been understaffed for over a year, and Commissioner Miller and DA Wallace have tried multiple times to get this on the agenda. So I'm assuming it's Council Yule and Water Chuck that's stopping it because I don't think anyone else would have the authority. And lastly, I have a question that I've asked 8 months ago that I still don't have an answer to, is why is Council Yule still sitting on the dais when she slandered 4 county employees to 2 commissioners, two Lincoln County residents, and she has not been investigated like all these other employees that the county has that you seem to be putting on administrative leave and leaving them at home for months on full pay? I'd like an answer to that question. I've been asking it for 8 months now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Christine. Let's see here. Barbara Davis. Hi, Barbara.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I too have questions as a tax-paying citizen who contributes to your generous salaries. So I would like some answers, some accountability. On January 7th, the Board of Commissioners meeting, County Council stated that the business of that meeting was to appoint a board chair as a vacancy was left with Commissioner Hall's death. Council stated that past practice dictated that Commissioner Chuck would become the chair. However, Oregon Revised Statutes 203.240 states, if two members of the board cannot agree on the appointment of a chairperson, the member who is longest in length of service shall act as chair. At that point, Commissioner Miller should have been the chair. It is my understanding that the Oregon Revised Statutes are the law of the land, that the Oregon statutes override past practice. So why was that legal advice not given by County Council? First question. At the February 4th work session, the County Council stated that the commissioner vacancy must be filled within 30 days by statute. There was no justification for not following the law. Council quoted ORS 236.210. But in fact, ORS 236.210 does not contain a 30-day deadline. This is the applicable statute for a nonpartisan county. Lincoln County is a nonpartisan county. Despite Council Yule's repeated reminders that we are out of compliance with the law, according to ORS 236.210, that would be incorrect. She continued to express the urgency of this appointment. In that same meeting, Commissioner Miller repeatedly asked, as is his right as the elected commissioner, for a further discussion of the appointment process. If this appointment held such urgency as expressed by County Council, why was the next Board of Commissioner meeting in which Commissioner Miller stated his desire for further discussion on the appointment process, and in which Commissioner would have been the chair, why was that meeting canceled without board deliberation? I believe Commissioner Chuck denied canceling the meeting. Maybe the public information officer canceled it. The question remains unanswered. So I would really like answers to these questions, and I would like those answers made publicly, not in private to myself. I would like those answers and accountability publicly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. So we've got two signed up. It looks like that's it for in-person inputs. Did you want to do the raise hand function online or?
We didn't receive any of the forms.
Oh, okay. Okay, so just want to be clear. We have a process for submitting online feedback. Okay, no raised hands. And no submissions. Okay.
Lola has raised her hand.
Oh, yeah, well, let's allow her.
Commissioner Miller, we do have a process for that. And no one signed up in time.
Yeah, I hear you, Commissioner Chuck. That process is not a board authorized process. We didn't take a vote. And I think Lola Jones is here and she might not even be aware of that. So I think we can give her a chance to talk today. Okay, so.
No, that's the process, Commissioner Miller. And when I've been chair, I followed that. So I would hope that you would do the same.
Okay, which one though? Because we have that there's
an online process for
rules that people have to sign up.
Yes,
online.
There's one for online, and you have to sign up the day before.
Okay, I hear you. Today, I am waiving that for this individual online.
I would advise not, because the point of doing the online is you actually sign the same rules that you sign when you come in person. And so that gives staff the opportunity to actually ensure that the individual has signed, has agreed to the rules of public comment, which has been approved by the board.
Okay. Appreciate that feedback. The virtual process was not a process that was approved by this board. Okay. That is a process that was created at a different time. For the record, I've requested that we bring all of these processes again under one umbrella and relook at the public comment rules. I think I will give Lola Jones the opportunity to speak to us. She's raising her hand, and I see no downsides to this, okay?
I do, because we need to follow the process that was set up, Commissioner Miller, and we adhered to it for the last 5 or 6 meetings. So I do not think we should vary from that. So.
Okay. Would you let Lola Jones speak, please?
Can I speak to it? No.
I'm not going to be part of that. So no.
Okay. Okay, everyone, hold on. We need to bring this process back to the board and have a discussion about it. So we're all under the same page and that the rules are encompassed in one comprehensive process. So I'm making a motion that we add public comment rules to the next agenda. Would you support me on reviewing all of this then?
No, I will not.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, please. Hey, everyone, please. Okay. We'll tell you what, I'm closing public comment. Okay. We have no executive session. Thank you for your time. We'll keep working together, everyone, and trying to come to a place where we have consensus. Keep your input coming in. This is your government. Appreciate you being here. And unless there is anything else for the board, okay. I'm adjourning this meeting. Thank you. Okay.